What is up, everyone, and welcome back to Men vs. Movies. I'm Griffin, as always, and if you clicked on this video, you're probably a little puzzled, because why would we be talking about the top 5 MCU scores when there have been many videos that have been made criticizing the MCU scores? We'll get to that in a little bit later on, but first I want to introduce my guest that I have on here. He's a regular to the channel. You all know him. Tyler Tompkins, introduce yourself.
What's up, guys? I'm Tyler Tompkins. Like Griffin said, series regular, but I love doing these videos, especially when we do top 5 scores like of the year, or just scores from any franchise. This is going to be a lot of fun, but yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what our scores are, because the MCU scores really aren't great, but I was able to find 5 really good ones. I don't know about you.
Absolutely. That's a great way to segue into this whole thing. Is we acknowledge that the film scores in the MCU are very, you know, like they're the company man that comes in and they do the job. You know, they have their select few of greats, but I think my biggest problem with the MCU is their lack of thematic continuity, which I think they're retroactively trying to reinstate now by, you know, bringing Alan Silvestri back in Avengers Infinity War, by, you know, having like classic themes from, like, say, Phase 1 pop up, like we saw that in Thor Ragnarok, and stuff like that. And so they're trying to fix it. So I think they're aware of it, but it's been a disappointment for the most part for a franchise this big and for a series that is, like, you know, this groundbreaking. Their film scores have been rather lackluster. However, there are definitely 5 scores, like Tyler said, that I think we can both agree are great. I think this is going to be a lot of fun, and Tyler, I'm glad to have you on here and talk about the scores. Kind of makes up for our top 10 scores of 2017 video kind of getting lost in the shuffle, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Kicking things off here, we are going to start with some honorable mentions. So, Tyler, what do you got?
Yeah, so I have 2 honorable mentions, and they're both, ironically, by the same guy, Michael Giacchino.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Neither of those made the cut.
Yeah, no, just barely. I went with Doctor Strange and Spider-Man Homecoming. They're really good. I think Doctor Strange, it surprised me. I rewatched it the other day, and I really like the score. A lot of the compositions sound like stuff that Michael did with Star Trek. Almost,
yes,
like,
in Doctor Strange. Yeah,
it was almost like too
agree.
similar. I was like, oh my gosh, this like Star Trek theme, or what's going on here?
Yeah.
But yeah, that was really good. And then I just really like the Spider-Man theme that he did for Spider-Man Homecoming.
We're gonna touch on that one a little bit later on, because
I
I adore that score. I think it's great. It is so good. Doctor Strange is a good score. I think it was very unique, one of the more unique scores in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. All right, so I got 2 honorable mentions here. One I think is a little underappreciated, and I'll kick off with that one, and that is Craig Armstrong's score for The Incredible Hulk. I think that Craig Armstrong does a really great job at creating this sense of a man on the run, on the man who's like trying to escape the government. The score definitely has a little bit of that Bourne-esque feel to it. Not to the extent of the Bourne films, but it does have that. And then his Hulk theme is like, you listen to it and you're like, yep, that's Hulk. Big, like, evil sounding, you know, kind of like you don't know where this is going to go theme. And absolutely. If you go back and you listen to it, there's several themes in there that I find very enjoyable. The one where he's getting chased through the favela, and the Hulk theme. So I really dig those. And then my other honorable mention is the first Iron Man, Ramin Djawadi. I think he's one of the best composers in the business, and this first Iron Man score is the best out of all of the Iron Man scores. It's really a shame that he didn't come back to score 2 and 3, and it's also a shame that they didn't keep the theme that Djawadi created for the first one, because I think it's perfect. It completely suits the character. So those are my honorable mentions.
Yeah, there's a good call on The Incredible Hulk. I didn't even think about that one. That is a really good score. It really fits the tone of the movie, and it's it's different from all of the other scores, because I mean that movie itself is so different from all of the other MCU movies. So.
No, and that's one of the reasons I like it. It has like whenever the Hulk theme is playing, it's got like a little bit of like a Jekyll and Hyde thing going on, but it's got this like epic bombast to it, and it just makes for great music, and especially in the movie, it works. All right, now let's get down to the top 5. Tyler, what's your number 5?
This was my hardest pick, picking number 5, just because, you know, as we were saying, the scores aren't that strong, and when you find the good ones, it's hard, you know, selecting the ones for your top 5. But I went with Thor Ragnarok for number 5.
Oh, okay. I can respect that. I thought about putting that on my honorable mentions, but my biggest problem with it is that none of the like themes are like memorable to me. Like it's cool music, but like I don't know. It's just
that's literally why I picked it. I mean, as a whole, I can totally say that a majority of it's really not that memorable, but the ones that do stand out, they stand out, and they stick with me at least. Like I think it's called like the Ragnarok Suite or something like that. It has kind of like
Ragnarok Suite is great.
Yeah, it's like kind of a Funko techie theme. It's really good and it fits the world that Taika Waititi created. Not a lot. The guy Mark, what's his last name? Mothersbaugh.
Sorry, I was taking a sip of the water. Yeah, Mark Mothersbaugh.
Yeah. He's yeah, I liked what he did. Overall, I was looking at the album again, and there was like, I think like 20 or 25 songs. I was like,
there's so many tracks on that.
I was like,
so many.
I don't even think they played that many tracks through that movie.
Yeah, for real.
I was like, I remember Immigrant Song and the Ragnarok Suite. That's all I remember.
Yeah, I like the Ragnarok Suite, and then I also like the I forget,
the opening one's really good.
What the heck is it called? That's What Heroes Do or something like that. The one where he throws the bowling ball at them, breaks the window, and goes that. Yeah. Anyways, but yeah, that's the like I think what you could consider the main theme of the film.
Because they played over and over again, and I liked it. It was memorable to me. Like whenever. That
theme is probably the most memorable out of all of them, but like on the whole, like the music was just like
yeah, and I can totally agree with that because like I said, man, I was going through it and I was just kind of like, no way this was in the movie. Like there's just no way.
You're just like, no, I'm skipping through this. No way.
No, I only heard 3 songs and those are the ones I'm listening to.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, now time for my number 5, and my number 5 is a little bit of a controversial pick because I don't know how many people actually like this score, and there are reasons I love this score, and there's one reason why I don't like this score, and that's the score for Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Oh yeah, that's on mine too.
It is? Okay, well then we will wait. We'll wait until it's on your list and then we'll talk about it. Yeah. Good stuff. I'm glad it's on there. All right, Tyler, what's your number 4?
It's getting tough, man. I'm making like game time decision picks right now. It's so hard. But okay, I'm gonna go number 4, The Avengers, Alan Silvestri.
Wow, that is wow.
I have a reason. I have a reason. The Avengers theme is fantastic. I used to kind of fight against it, but you're right. It's a really good theme. I love it so much. But again, it's kind of like Thor Ragnarok. I rewatched The Avengers last week. That's the only theme I remember. Like, and I just watched the movie. I don't remember anything else other than the main theme. Silvestri, he makes other composition pieces, but they kind of sound like rewrites of the theme, and just like with new stuff added to it.
Sure.
Which is good, but I mean, that's all I remember, and that's all I listened to from that movie. That's the only song I have downloaded from it. But it's great, man. It has that great hero feel to it. It's very upbeat, and I love what Danny Elfman did with it, but that score's not on this list. That score's not on this list.
Okay, good.
But yeah, that's yeah. I don't know. It's just that one song, but it's a really good song.
Yeah, no, well, and we could talk about it, I guess, because that's my number 3.
Okay, yeah, perfect.
I adore it. I think it's one of the best superhero scores ever made, but I do agree with you. It's the theme. The theme is what makes it, and in some regards, the theme is what makes a lot of these scores. But especially in the Avengers one, I mean, like, in the way that they are like putting it up in the forefront, the way they're using it in the marketing for Infinity War, they're not like holding back. They're like, this is the Avengers. This is the theme. Get it ingrained in your brain because we want it to be one of the greatest themes of all time. And I think, given time, it will be a theme that is remembered. And one of the things that I love about Silvestri's score in the first one is the big moments. The moments that matter, the score comes to play and it enhances those moments tenfold. I mean, everyone talks about that rotating, that 360 shot when the Avengers theme is blasting. It's one of the greatest cinematic comic book moments of all time. Really, all of the music that is played during the Battle of New York, I think is done to perfection. And I love how he integrated the Captain America theme in there, considering that he did the score for the first Avenger. It was brilliant. I wish he did that a little bit more with some of the other characters, but then it might be a little thematic overload. But it's just pure bliss. It's just ear candy. I can listen to it over over and over again. The reason it comes in at number 3 is you're right, that beginning stuff. Everything before the Battle of New York is just it's background noise, and it does its job well, but it's that Avengers theme and the way he works it into the big moments that you come to listen to.
Yeah, it's very bombastic, just very. I don't know. Sure, I think it is going to go down. It's
traditional in a way.
Yeah, it is going to go down as, like you said, like one of the best superhero. I mean,
for sure,
themes ever.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, we're definitely out of order here at all sorts of stuff, but anyway, so that was your number 4, right?
Yeah, and to give you just to tell you, that was number 1 at one point, but then I moved it around. I mean, it was like it was all over the place, dude. The score list, it was ridiculous.
I know it was number 1 on my list at some point too, but then I went bold.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear. I'm excited to hear.
All right, so that was your number 4. My number 4 is the one you had in your honorable mention. That's Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I truth be told, this is probably on par with the Danny Elfman theme for me. They work in 2 different ways. One is very reminiscent of like a young Peter Parker, that being the Homecoming, and one is very much the mature, in his 20s superhero Spider-Man with all the drama and stuff that had occurred in his life at that point. The reason why I love the Spider-Man Homecoming theme is because it's so memorable. Like, I find myself humming it just like, out in the middle of nowhere, just like bum 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 bum. It's
that
just
loud, that loud.
Right, yeah, literally that loud. People look at me and they're like, what in God's name is wrong with you? It's great. It fits the character. I love the little flourishes that Giacchino puts in like different tracks. The Vulture theme is also very, very good, very well used. It's simple, but it's menacing. The one critique I have with it is his little like Tony Stark riff that he throws in there is just so off. It doesn't fit Tony Stark at all. It's just a very weird thing. I don't know why he didn't use one of the previous, 3 themes that they had, but whatever. If there's 3 separate themes, might as well make up your own one. On the whole, it's fun. It encapsulates the character. It's memorable. It's heroic, and it's everything that I think of when I think of Spider-Man. It's so well done. I think it deserves more appreciation, but it's one of the best for sure.
Yeah, truth be told, I haven't seen Homecoming yet on my huge marathon, but if I had seen it, this score probably would have made my list. I just can't really remember.
I have a feeling it would. Yeah, absolutely.
And going back to his score versus Danny Elfman's score, obviously I have to go Elfman because it's like my favorite superhero score of all time.
Yeah,
but
sure.
What you said was right. Elfman's score and Giacchino's score, both of them match their movies very well. For Homecoming, it's obviously a totally different tone, and Giacchino's score totally works for that tone. Whereas Danny Elfman's score probably would not work at all.
Well, and one of the things I love about it, and we'll get to this a little bit later on, is it's not a generic score. It's like it's kind of done in the more traditional style. There's a lot of horns. There's like nice little string flourishes, but the theme for it is memorable. Like Giacchino spent time crafting a theme that people are going to be like, that's Spider-Man when they hear it. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I think I appreciate the most out of this score.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree.
All right, we're just all out of sorts here with just different, rankings of the same scores, but I'm pretty sure we're on number 3. So, Tyler, what is your number 3?
Yeah, this one was tough, man, because I really, really liked this score, and it was a lot higher, while I was making my list, but I went number 3, Black Panther.
Okay. Yeah, I can respect that. That was an honorable mention. Actually, I should have really mentioned that in the honorable mentions because I appreciate the uniqueness of it, and I really like how they used tribal instruments of like the African culture and stuff like that. And I think out of all of the scores in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's one that builds upon the world the most, that immerses you into the society of Wakanda through those traditional African instruments. It's just, for me, it's just not a score that I like going back to and listening to. It's just, like, it's cool when it's in the movie, but I think just like, because I judge it on those 2 things. I judge it on how it works in the movie and am I going to listen to it again? And for me, it doesn't quite check that second box.
Yeah, dude, that's exactly how I judged the scores too, except I did download some of the songs because I like some of them. Ryan Coogler, I'm so happy he was able to bring Ludwig with, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name. Yeah, Goranson, there we go. That was easier than I thought. You got this. It's not too bad. So easy, okay. Yeah.
Fun fact, I actually learned that he's a rap producer. He does rap beats for artists.
did not know. I need to look him up. I didn't even know what he looked like. For some reason, I just think Ludwig Beethoven, and I just picture this.
Yeah, for sure.
For whatever reason. But yeah, I was really happy that Coogler was able to bring Ludwig Göransson with him over to this movie, because he had never made the transition to like big blockbuster action. He was used to doing stuff like Creed and Fruitvale Station, which are both great scores. But to see him be able to do this and create such an immersive and unique, it's the most unique MCU score, like you said, just because of uses his use of the tribal percussion and everything, just really, really unique. But yeah, that's why I put it at number 3.
All right, so I already told you my number 3 is the Avengers. So Tyler, we're actually going back to you for number 2.
Are you ready for this?
I think I am.
It is. This one was so hard, but man, I went the Winter Soldier. Henry Jackman.
You went with Winter Soldier at number 2. Okay, dude, wow. That's given the day, this is probably a top 2 for me.
Dude, it's riveting. Like the Winter Soldier theme
so
is
good.
It might be my favorite theme out of the entire MCU.
Which the Captain America one, or the just the score in general?
When the Winter Soldier theme. Whenever
the Winter Soldier theme.
When they're on the freeway. The highway.
Oh yes,
dude. Like I rewatched that movie like 4 or 5 days ago. I'd seen the movie, of course, but I was literally on the edge of my seat. I was like, this is so awesome.
Yeah, that's
like it's just a blend of everything. I mean, the Russo brothers' direction and the theme. I mean, dude, it just came together so nicely.
It really, really works. I think my favorite thematic moment in the entire film is the elevator fight scene into like his escape from the Shield headquarters, which is essentially that's the new Captain America theme. Like that's the Captain America theme in the Winter Soldier. That is probably one of my favorite themes out of the entire MCU. The bang bum 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 bang. It's just like, it's modern yet it's patriotic. It embodies Captain America. It embodies where he is at that point in time. And it's just, I don't know why. I know a lot of people don't really like this one because it's like very, when you compare it to Silvestri's original one, yeah, it's not as memorable. Some of the themes feel like background noise. The Winter Soldier is very clunky and some people call it messy. I wouldn't call it messy, but I think it fits the character very well. Something that Henry Jackman does in this score especially is he plays into the moments. He makes the moments like 10 times better with the music going on, which is very similar to what Silvestri did with the Avengers.
We're both wrong. Winter Soldier's number 1, clearly. Clearly.
This is going to be the other case. Listen, like, the only reason I have it at number 5 is because I'm, like, personally, this is, like, way higher, but I think objectively there are better scores. Like, objectively, I think... the
high moments are really high, but the low moments are really low.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's a tricky thing. And I mentioned that when I was talking about it at number 5, one of the reasons why I don't like this score is because they didn't bring back the theme from the first Avenger, which we will get to later on because I adore that theme. Yeah. And that kind of bugged me, but at the same time, it made sense because that's not who Captain America is anymore. Maybe they could have modernized it. Maybe they could have, reused it in a way. I'm curious to see if Silvestri brings it back for Infinity War. But like for that movie, it's not right. It doesn't necessarily feel right. And they did use it like, at the very beginning and a few other parts. So it's still like in the MCU, but it's just it's a double-edged sword and it kills me. Yeah
but it's so good. But like you said, I mean, I remember even going into the Winter Soldier, I'd seen no trailers, knew nothing about it, and really wasn't too excited because I didn't like the first movie that much. And I just was like, wow, this feels like a completely different movie. And Henry Jackman's score is completely different than Silvestri's.
Yeah, right.
So it kind of lent itself well to the movie.
So that was your number 2. So my number 2, I think, is actually your number 1.
Probably is.
So,
Iron Man 2?
Oh, damn it.
Just
all right,
kidding.
This is over. We're done. We're out of here. My number 2. This score almost was my number 1 because on many levels, I think this is by far the best score in the MCU. But on certain levels, I just appreciate my number 1 a little bit more. My number 2 is the score for Ant-Man.
No, it's not. That's actually not. That's not on my list.
It's not on your list?
No.
Tyler, this is what? What is going on?
You should say. I feel the same way. I thought you were gonna say just kidding. I was like, no, surely not.
I'm dead serious.
I don't remember it at all, man.
You don't remember the theme from Ant-Man?
And I just watched it.
Oh my God!
No.
Oh, this, ladies and gentlemen,
I thought we need to redo the list, man.
This list just turned into something. I don't even know what this list is anymore. Tyler, the theme from Ant-Man is honest to God perfect on so many levels. Like,
I don't remember it, dude. I feel so bad.
You don't remember the bum 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 bum. Like, you don't remember that?
I'm gonna remember that, but I don't remember. The actual Ant-Man score.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, let's just recuperate here. Let's catch our breath and then. Oh my God. All right. This was almost my number one. I think this score, you want to talk about an underappreciated score. The score for Ant-Man is the definition of underappreciated because it's just the only one out of like all the scores in the MCU that I go back to. I'm like, yeah, this is really catchy. It's like, it's perfect for the film. It's like a character within the film. It's just embodies Ant-Man. It embodies like the heist elements of it. It's got like, it's classical yet modern at the same time. And I think Christoph Beck does a phenomenal job here. Now, granted, if they choose to go with a different composer, which they're not doing, for Ant-Man and the Wasp, and they change up the theme, then I'd be very disappointed. If they stick with this, dude, like, it's genius. The little like motifs they use here and there when he's like riding the ants, when he's like does his first encounter with Falcon, they reuse the Avengers theme for that, which is kind of cool. The theme for Hank Pym, I also love. I think it's a really interesting, kind of take on the Ant-Man theme in general. It's kind of just like it's very similar, but it's like slightly removed at the same time. It gives the feeling of a more mature Ant-Man. And when it's used when he has those encounters with his daughter, his daughter Hope. I think it just really, really adds to the emotion in those moments. But overall, the music for this film is so fun. It's such a memorable theme. It fits the atmosphere of the heist film that they were going for, and it's so unique yet just so ahead of many of the scores in this. And I don't know, I could gush about this score all day, man, but like Christoph Beck knocked it out of the park for me.
I need to go back and listen to it, man. I didn't even think to look up that score. And I like that, dude. You know how much I like that movie now after rewatching it.
Yeah, absolutely.
For some reason, I just didn't even think about the score while watching it, and I'm sure it is great. And I felt terrible for not putting it on my list because it probably would have made my list.
There's no doubt it would be in your top 3. Like,
dang, man,
hands down. It's genius. Like, it's just genius, and I want more people to listen to it.
You got me. I'm listening to it as soon as we get done doing this thing.
Boom. There we go.
Yeah.
And that's why it's my number 2. All right, so this entire video has come down to this. The number 1 best score in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I'm pretty sure, actually, given the whole Ant-Man debacle, that I think we have the same number 1.
Well, now I want to say Ant-Man. I want to change it to Ant-Man, even though I can't remember it.
Yeah. All right, well, come on. Let's tell everyone what the number 1 score in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is.
Captain America Civil War, dude.
Oh, wow!
Dude, it's the number. Oh my gosh, what is yours, man?
Mine is the first Avenger.
Oh yeah, I knew it. I should have guessed that one. It's Civil War. It's Civil War, man.
Really, it's Civil War for you?
Because I was texting you the other night, like I always do after every MCU movie, and I watched Civil War again, man. And let me tell you, dude, so many emotional scenes in that movie, especially the fight between Iron Man, Bucky, and Cap. My favorite, dude, that's my favorite like fight/action scene out of the entire MCU. And it does not work without the score, dude. It's
I mean, you're right. You're not wrong.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, I went in, this is okay, it kind of sucks because it's similar to other scores we've talked about. Again, Henry Jackman, the high parts are extremely high, but there are some low parts that just, they don't work. But dude, the high parts, man, they stuck with me.
Yeah, it's a great score. I mean, I have several honorable mentions, and it would probably be among them. My biggest problem with it is my biggest problem I had with the Winter Soldier. And that is, they don't even keep the themes that they established in the Winter Soldier. Like, they keep the Winter Soldier theme, but they don't bring back the Captain America theme that they used in the Winter Soldier in Civil War. Like, he like creates a whole new theme for Captain America, which was so unnecessary. Like, you already had one that was here. Stick with it. And it's the same guy doing the score. And that's my biggest problem with it with Civil War on the whole, is that it's just adding to this lack of thematic continuity. Like, you're right. The high moments are really, really good. And the Civil War theme, not the Captain America theme, not the whatever theme, the Civil War theme is really good. Like, I like it a lot, but there's a lot of stuff in here that I just can't forgive when the same composer who did The Winter Soldier is doing Civil War. There's just, like, why are you adding to a lack of thematic continuity? It's the same guy.
See, I think he's doing it because, for me at least, this is my experience watching it as a huge MCU hater. In each movie, Captain America is drastically different, man. I'd say even from The Winter Soldier to the Civil War, totally different. I mean, he just looks tougher, meaner, and that's how it looks in Infinity War. He has a beard, dude, in Infinity War. I mean, like, he looks so awesome. I can't wait to see what kind of theme they use for him in that movie.
It's gonna be
Alan Silvestri,
the original one.
It's probably gonna be pretty good. You'll probably like it a lot.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you, because I think that what they're going to do is they're going to take the original Captain America theme, the one that everyone knows and remembers and associates with the character, and he'll use it. But he'll use it in like a modern context. Like that's what they should have done with this character, because while I agree with you, the character drastically changes from installment to installment. That doesn't mean you change the theme.
It's just kind of Marvel's tradition, except for their main theme. Like, they typically keep the Avengers theme. Thankfully, they don't change that up in every single movie. But,
they did a little bit in Age of Ultron, but
a little bit. Yeah, that's true. It's pretty good though. It's kind of good though. Danny Elfman.
Yeah, I mean, they kept it at its core. You know, and I think if they had done what they did with the Avengers theme in Age of Ultron with the Captain America theme, it would have been 10 times better, because at its core, it's that same theme, but they've twisted it in a way. They've kind of just created their own little variant of it while still remaining like the Captain America theme. And that's just, that's what I struggle with in Winter Soldier and in Civil War, but especially in Civil War, him not even keeping the theme that he made in the Winter Soldier, which 100% could work for Captain America in Civil War. That it makes no sense to me.
It goes back to show just how weak. I mean,
it does.
The weak the scores are in the MCU, because Captain America is not the only example. I mean, like you said, Iron Man. They didn't keep that whole switch. I mean, I think they used 3 different composers for all 3 movies.
They did. He has the worst thematic continuity.
It's that's awful, man.
Yeah.
I mean, and I kind of like the Iron Man 3 score a little bit, but just because I like the movie. But it's nothing memorable. It's not going to go in my honorable mentions or anything like that.
No.
But it's just kind of, it shows I'd say Marvel's biggest weakness, man. It's the scores.
Yeah, for sure, which is why I'm shocked that Civil War is your number one. But I understand, though, because of how it plays into the moments, and the stuff that isn't the themes for individual characters is really good.
Exactly. Yeah. That's why I went with it.
You probably could have guessed this one from the beginning, but my favorite score in the MCU is Captain America: The First Avenger. Alan Silvestri's masterpiece of a score. It is so good. It is just, the second that theme comes on, boom, it's stuck in your head. It embodies the character. It captures the patriotism, the optimism of this man who wants to do his part, stick up for the little guy and fight the bad guys. He says in the movie he doesn't like bullies, and that theme just embodies the character probably more so than any theme in the MCU, aside from maybe Ant-Man. That's the only one that gives it a little run for its money. But that theme is just, it fits the film so well. It plays into the moments really well. It's not just the theme, it's the music in it as well. It really adds to the Raiders of the Lost Ark inspired adventure that it was very clearly a inspiration for the film itself, or maybe I should say The Last Crusade. That's more in line with the adventure that they go on this one. But it's just that classic 1940s serial adventure feel that Silvestri crafted with the music for the first Avenger. It works with the film. It gives us the best theme in the MCU. You know, and it really should come as no surprise. This is usually in the top 2 for people. It's usually like the Avengers and then this, or this and then the Avengers.
Yeah, it's I do like that score. It almost made my top 5, but it's dude, after like the halfway point, I just check out of that movie. To me, it's just
this
really
is the score, Tyler, not the movie.
Well, I know, but I mean, it's nothing really memorable. I do like the the opening piece of music. I don't know what it's called, but it's whenever they're on the snow, you know, and they're digging.
Oh yeah, that stuff.
That's a really good. I mean, that kind of set the tone for it, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is a lot better than I remember. And then Cap's theme, but after that, I don't really remember too much of it.
Oh my gosh, you don't remember the Star-Spangled Man with a plan? Come on, that is just that is so funny. Like, that's them taking a jab at just like the caricature of like Captain America. That was so awesome.
I'm gonna go listen to these scores later today.
Oh my god, I can't even believe this. Ladies and gentlemen, this
video
did not.
The real number one's probably gonna be Infinity War. Let's hope.
I really do hope, because that's the thing. We are recording this before either of us have seen Infinity War, and we'll probably release it before that anyways. But that is the one score that could 100% make this list.
Yeah, I think it would make top 5 for sure. Hopefully.
Well, right.
Okay, Silvestri.
There you have it, guys. Wow, this list just it panned out not like I was expecting.
No.
I thought you were joking for several of them. I really were. You know, when you were like, "Nah, man, not on my list for Ant-Man."
Yeah, I remember I told you, man, right before. I was like, I think we're going to have the same movies. I'm pretty sure it's just placement, but I was wrong. I was totally wrong.
And you know what? It's totally weird, because I should be more shocked that the first Avenger isn't on your top 5 as opposed to Ant-Man. But just knowing how you are about that film, I think I was expecting it.
Yeah, it was like, I didn't use it as an honorable mention, but for a while it was on my top 5 list, the first Avenger. So. Right. You know.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it, guys. Those are our respective top 5 scores in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like we said, the Marvel Cinematic Universe doesn't have the best scores, but we were able to find 5 really solid ones. So in the comments section, this is what I want you to do. Let us know your top 5 scores in the MCU. We'd love to hear from you, especially because there's 18 of them, and you may enjoy some more than others, obviously. So be sure to let us know your top 5 MCU scores in the comment section below. Tyler, thank you for joining me on this special episode. Where can everyone find you?
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube by searching my name, and then Twitter and Instagram, just search my name too, and I should be one of the first people that pop up.
He should be. He usually is, but on the off chance that he's not, you will have a lower third with his Twitter handle there.
Yeah, it's possible. I've seen it before. It's scary, but hopefully not this time. It's really scary.
All right. Well, guys, if you like this video, be sure to like it, share with your friends, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more movie reviews and a lot of podcasts. We got a James Bond podcast, and we just started a Westworld podcast, of which Tyler is a co-host of, and so we can both say, go subscribe to that on iTunes, right?
It's awesome.
Yeah. It's basically the best Westworld podcast that's ever existed.
It's amazing. It's so much fun to talk about, too.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, and then you can also like Men vs. Movies on Facebook and follow us on Twitter simply by searching Men v Movies. And lastly, guys, if you like me specifically and you like what I have to say, you can always give me a follow on Twitter at Griff Schiller. All right. That'll do it for this video, guys. And until next time, take care.